There are reports that children living at the Aryan Benevolent Home in Chatsworth have been abused by their caregivers. ABH has 5 facilities in the Greater Durban area which cares for the elderly and children. The children's home houses at least 102 children aged between 7 and 11 years. I'm now joined by Mbali, Shinga, the KwaZulu-Natal Social Development MEC. MEC, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon. Now, you presented the findings on an investigation that was done on ABH, MEC. What did you make of the key factors that led to this abuse?
Good afternoon. On the 1st of July, I conducted my first visit to the center and the walkabout. And then after established that it was necessary that the Department of Social Development, under the leadership of the head of department, conducts the investigation on the allegations that surfaced in the media platforms. We took 3 weeks to do the investigations, but we then wrote to the center when we went there yesterday to hand over the report. Indeed, some of the allegations, because the first and foremost was the physical abuse of children, that they were using corporal punishment to punish the children. So indeed, it was confirmed in the findings, because we used the observation during the walkabouts. We also conducted engagement sessions with children and the staff, and children themselves confirmed that they were being beaten, and those that actually saw others being beaten. It was really sad, and we handed over that report to the board of ABH, and we are waiting for them to yet respond to the report.
And some of those findings, MEC, were quite damning. I mean, food provided was inadequate and children often went hungry. Can you just talk to us in terms of the support that the NGO receives in terms of food, and how is it then that children are going with very less meals?
Very damning indeed. In our own observation, when we even took the photographs. We asked the children. Children went hungry, and in some instances, all 3 meals of the day, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, were bread. Bread was served to them. You know. Very damning. But as the KZN Department of Social Development, we support this child and youth care center financially. We provide 4,000 rand per child a month. So you take that and you multiply it by 102, because that's the number of children they have. Really, it did not sit well with us that children would go hungry to bed like that. But other than the food, there are other findings that we find, for instance, tampering with children's rights, issues of religion, where they are not linked up or have access to a religion of their choice or preference in the community. They are accustomed to one, and really many other things. Children using cold water to wash their dishes. It's really damning what we found there.
And I mean, within some of the findings that you found there, MEC, include the implementation of residential developmental and therapeutic programs that have been compromised due to the lack of effective social services. How often do you do checks or send inspectors to institutions such as these to see where the money that you give in support of these children and the elderly that need it so much is actually working for what it's intended for?
Our own department, where the facility is based in all districts of KwaZulu-Natal, the district office has a monitoring and evaluation role to do visits and conduct monitoring and evaluation with the institution. So indeed, this report does not talk only to ABH. We have our own findings that we need to attend to as the department. Because when I visited on the 1st of July, I did say that and raise concerns that someone should have picked this up, somewhere, even before they were reported to the media by community members. So really, we as the department need to adhere to that, to make use of the tool that is provided when we monitor. But like you are saying, ever since I started with this department in June, the community members have raised red flags with some of these NGOs and NPOs, and I tell you, this is not the last. We have the role to go around and monitor and expose them.
You certainly do have that role. So you mentioned that you haven't gotten a response yet from the board. 4,000 rands per child for 102 children. Surely there's consequences that need to come into play here. What's the way forward?
Yes, interestingly, we haven't had response from the board, but there are media statements flying around in the media that I'm not going to entertain now because they have not been addressed to the Department of Social Development. We are waiting for them to respond. But at this stage, after our meeting yesterday, they were then given a task to go and draw a plan of how of their responses in this. But we will definitely look at that. We are ready for them to respond and then take it from there.
All right, MEC, thank you so much for your time and just for giving us insight into this issue. That's MEC Mbali Shinga from the KwaZulu-Natal Social Development.